You were lied to, but not the way you think. For 40 years, Floridians have been told the lottery would fund our schools. And every year, you open your property tax bill, look at the school board line, usually the biggest number on the page, and ask the same question: where'd the lottery money go? I'm going to show you exactly where it went, all of it, down to the penny. And I'm going to show you why, even if every dollar had been perfectly spent, the lottery was never going to lower your property taxes. It wasn't designed to. It wasn't sold to do it, and the math doesn't even come close. There's also a bill that just moved through Tallahassee that some people think is going to fix property taxes once and for all. The Florida House passed it 80-30 in February. It died in the Senate 3 weeks later. There's a new version coming this summer, and it might actually pass. I'll show you what it does, what it doesn't do, and why none of it touches the school portion of your tax bill. By the end of this video, you'll know more about how Florida actually funds your kids' schools than 95% of the people voting on it. Let's go back to 1986. That's when Florida voters approved the lottery. It was sold under what's called the Excellence Campaign. Here's the lie people tell themselves, that the lottery was promised as tax relief. It wasn't. The pitch was educational improvement. Lottery money was supposed to be the margin of excellence, money for computers, science labs, and programs schools couldn't otherwise afford. The law literally requires it to supplement, not supplant, existing education funding. So where's the deception? It's not what most people think. The state isn't taking the lottery money out of education to build prisons. Every penny of net lottery profit goes into the Educational Enhancement Trust Fund, the EETF. That part is real. The shell game is fiscal. As lottery revenue grew, the legislature quietly reduced the general revenue, sales tax dollars, that they had been putting into schools. They used the lottery to backfill the hole, then spent those sales tax dollars somewhere else. The result? Per pupil spending, adjusted for inflation, dropped by $811 between 2008 and 2023. The lottery didn't make Florida schools excellent. It became a crutch that let lawmakers move tax dollars to other priorities. But, and this is the point I keep coming back to, even when the lottery worked exactly as designed, it was never going to replace property taxes as the funding for schools. That was never on the table. It wasn't promised, it wasn't possible, and the next two scenes are going to show you exactly why. Let's follow the money. When you spend $1 on a Florida lottery ticket, here's where it goes. About 68 cents of every dollar comes right back to the players as prizes. Another 6 cents goes to the gas station, grocery store, or convenience store that sold you the ticket. A penny goes to the vendors who run the gaming machines, and another penny goes to the lottery's own administration. That leaves about 24 cents, and that's the chunk earmarked for education. So now the question is, where does that 24 cents go? This is where most people get blindsided. Roughly 2/3 of every education dollar from the lottery, about 16 of those 24 cents, goes to higher education. In the last full fiscal year, $934 million went to state colleges and universities. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the entire annual budget of the city of Orlando. Another $606 million went into the Bright Future Scholarship. Since 1997, the lottery has put more than 1 million Florida kids through college, and that's a real accomplishment. But it isn't K through 12. The next chunk, about 2 cents of your education dollar, goes to paying off old construction bonds called Classrooms First. The states floated these bonds decades ago to build schools, and the lottery is legally required to pay them off first before anything else. That leaves about 6 cents of your education dollar, roughly 11%, that actually reaches K through 12 classrooms. About $252 million for things like school recognition program, which gives bonuses to A-rated schools. Not exactly what most people thought they were voting for, but it's still going to education. Here's the part you probably don't want to hear. In the 2024-2025 fiscal year, Florida's total education budget was about $31.9 billion. Here's where that money comes from. Property taxes, just the school portion, about $21.4 billion. That's the biggest piece by far. State general revenue, which is mostly sales tax dollars, fills in the next largest chunk. Florida doesn't have a state income tax, so when you buy a meal, a car, or anything else taxable, a portion of that flows to education funding. Federal funding rounds out a meaningful piece. Programs like Title I for low-income schools, special education funding under IDEA, and school nutrition. And the lottery? About $2.2 billion of that $31.9 billion total, roughly 7%. Look at that gap between property taxes and the lottery. The school portion of property taxes provides nearly 7 times more than the lottery does. Even if we fired every lottery employee, eliminated every Bright Future scholarship, killed off Classroom First bond payments, and dumped 100% of that $2.2 billion straight into K-12 classrooms, it still wouldn't cover about 1/10 of what property taxes provide. The lottery was never a replacement for property tax funding schools. That was never the design. It's a bonus that covers about 25 days of the school year. The idea that we can eliminate or even meaningfully reduce school property taxes by fixing the lottery isn't a policy disagreement. It's just mathematically impossible. So, if the lottery can't fix school funding, what about the bills you've been hearing about in Tallahassee, the ones promising to eliminate property taxes? Here's where most people get tripped up. When Governor DeSantis goes on TV and talks about eliminating property taxes, he's describing a goal. When legislators file actual bills, most of them are writing something very much narrower. Every serious property tax proposal that's moved through the House this year does the same thing. It eliminates the non-school portion of your bill. The school portion stays. There's been one outlier, Representative Ryan Chamberlain's plan to eliminate all property taxes, including school, replacing them with a real estate transaction fee and consumption tax. That bill didn't advance. The replacement revenue math was a disaster. So the bills with any actual chance of passing in the near term aren't property tax elimination. They're property tax relief, and only on the part of your bill for schools. Let me show you what that actually means. Hey, quick break in. I'm recording from my phone because I shot this video before something really big happened. The rest of this video, I was going to walk through all the bills in Tallahassee that didn't touch the school portion of your tax bill. That just changed. The governor called a special session, and the new plan may include school taxes for the first time. I posted a separate video breaking down what actually happened. Go watch that one next, because this could change what you pay on your own home in Florida. This has been the Florida Real Estate Insider. I'm still Tom McNamara. We'll see you in the next one.